Okay.
We are live and we are recording.
Very good. Thank you. Well, we will call to order this session of the Thomaston Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission. It's Wednesday, June 24th, and we are not in the Thomaston Town Hall, but we are distributed about the countryside. Okay, let it be known. Let me see. We've got Joe Feiner, Sue Pierpont, Laura Fitch, Michelle Volosky, and who else do we have for members? That's it. That does constitute quorum. So away we go. There is no minutes. So we'll jump right to old business, a request for declaratory ruling at the Thomaston High School. All right,
I'm just gonna
Stacy.
pull that up.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And I'm just picking up a variety of pictures for everyone to take a peek at.
While we're going through that, Stacy and I have walked the site, and Claude had walked the site as well, taken a look. For the most part, the activity that they were looking to perform was in walkways outside of the wetland. It was inside of a watercourse area, but they were basically looking to do pruning and normal garden type work, clearing of the existing paths and cleaning the right of way, the trailway to the bridge and dock system that they have there.
Yeah, for a few months now, I've been working with Doug Craig and Spencer from the high school. There is a nice outdoor education area adjacent to the high school. Unfortunately, it's kind of fallen into a bit of disrepair, and they are hoping to do some things to bring it back up into use and maybe some additional things later. I walked my understanding, I think they had spoken first with the chairman, and he referred them to the land use office, and that's when I went out with them. And we brought out Cynthia Rabinowitz as well from the Northwest Conservation District. We suggested some getting a soil scientist report. They worked with George Malia to do so. I walked the site again with them, with George Malia, and we all kind of agreed that the low-hanging fruit, the first thing to do would be to clear out, making the existing, it's not new trails or anything, it's all existing, clearing out invasive so that they can use those trail areas.
Trim back to height, right, so that people
Exactly.
weren't whacking their foreheads on branches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the ultimate endpoint of the trail system goes to a dock that had been constructed many years ago in the pond area. And let me see if I've got the picture here. This is some of the trail right here. You can see what they're wanted to trim back.
And trim back is not significant. It's 5-6 feet.
Yeah. The trail. Total. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to add that word in there before you get too much. Yeah, it's 5 or 6 feet total. It's not like 6 feet on either side even.
And okay, hang on. I just lost what I was sharing. Okay. So the ultimate endpoint is to a dock area on the pond. And this is where WPCA then was involved because they have some beaver activity in the pond area that was leading to water, a lot of water accumulating between the dock area and the path, such that you really couldn't get to the dock area anymore. And it just so happens that in between the dock area and the path is a manhole for the sewer. for WPCA. So knowing that this was probably going to be an issue for them as well, I had suggested that they contact Rich Tingle from the Water Pollution Control Facility, and then he went out with them. And what followed from there was some discussions also in terms of how to resolve that issue so that the manhole would be accessible. And I'm going to get you one more picture to take a look at if you can hang on.
Just as a sidebar, we've basically determined that that manhole is not going to be accessible anytime soon. It's underneath 18 inches of water, and that covers, 4 or 5 acres.
Well,
but it's not, there's no sign that it's leaking in there at this point in time. So the WPCA is going to consider doing clearing as part of their normal right of way. And that would be in this view straight across on the approach in from Route 6. That is not part of this discussion, however. Part of this discussion only has to do with the clearing of the trails leading up to the dock.
Part of the suggestions that came out of everything was also, and I think I have it up now, let me make sure I do, removal of 2 or 3 trees that were dead or dying, and when they fell were likely to fall in the direction of the path. So that was part of their request as well for last month, and I have that picture up now as well.
And it was discussed that some of this tree, a natural fall, branches that are left on the tree would be allowed to lay there in the woods normal, which is standard practice for us. And then potentially using the trunks close to where they lay as extra bridging material or walkway material.
Yeah. So they had come for last month's meeting, which unfortunately we did not have quorum for. What came out of that meeting was a discussion of having a site walk with Chairman Feiner and with Claude, which happened a couple days later. And Rich Tingle from the WPCA, from the Water Pollution Control Facility came, Spencer Luthi from the high school came, and Doug Craig as well. And as was indicated, we went out to the dock, we took a look at everything with regard to the manhole, walked through the path area, we took a look at the trees, and in light of the fact that they were, they're shut down, as everybody knows, the schools were shut down, it was a good time for them to try and get some of this done. We had said that we thought that it would be acceptable for them to go ahead with the clearing of the path. A good portion of which was in fact outside of regulated areas. Some of it was in, but most of it was actually outside of the regulated area. I was subsequently notified that that started, I believe the beginning of this week. So
work outside.
Yeah. We just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of what transpired in the interim. We didn't want to hold anybody up, but we wanted to make sure that it still followed the proper process.
So it would be my recommendation that this was declared a use of right, and it would be considered normal maintenance of the property, since there were no plans to either deposit material into or out of the wetland or watercourse. So after that report, I would ask for either questions from the commission, or if there are no questions from the commission, someone other than me making a motion to for the declaration. Okay, not hearing anything. I don't know whether or not we're, whether or not we're all on mute or are still thinking.
Let me double
This
check.
is Laura. Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can.
I would like to make a motion to approve the request for a declaratory ruling for Thomaston High School, 57 Branch Road, for the invasives removal of dead trees, and the placement of the beaver deceiver to maintain the high school outdoor classroom nature center and the existing WPCA manhole
As right of use.
as right of use.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table. Michelle, you are seated. Sue, I need a second.
My screen, it's Laura again. My screen is showing everybody has the microphone crossed off, that they're muted. I don't know if they realize they're muted.
Correct.
There.
Okay,
there's
let
Sue.
me double check. I think it's on my end, but let me double check.
Mine won't stay unmuted. Can you hear me? Because I'll second the motion.
I can hear
Yes,
you
we
now.
can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion by everybody? And I'm going to call for a roll call vote. So unmute yourself when you know, as soon as you can.
I am mute.
Okay, Sue,
Yes.
Just to unmute you.
Laura,
Talk to them.
Hi.
They hear you.
Michelle,
I don't know you're there.
and I'll vote aye as well. Motion passes.
She's not coming in.
And Claude did just recently arrive.
Oh, she knows you're there. Ask
Good
her.
evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Claude.
Trying to get my picture up.
Not a problem.
Claude, did you hear all of that in the motion?
No, I
Okay.
just came in.
No, that's all right. Then we'll move on. Welcome aboard. Take your time, as long as you can hear us.
Keep your hand off that.
Okay.
Don't hit that.
Next up, Stacy.
Yes, hang on one second.
Sure.
Okay. I'm just closing out all the stuff that we were just looking at,
Fine.
and
Take your time.
there we go. Okay, next up is another request, is new business, another request for declaratory ruling. This is an open-sided shelter and a pasture area for a pony at 49 Fenn Road. The applicant and owner is Christine and I believe also Jeff Pasick. Are you in the audience tonight?
Yes, we're here.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So I have up a picture of the shelter that is being started. It is correct me if I'm
Stacy?
wrong.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah?
sorry. I don't see. I still see one of the
Oh,
falling
that would
trees
be
from the
because
last
I
one.
did not resume the share. Okay.
Okay. Now I see a manger.
This is an 8x10 enclosure for a pony.
Yes.
And the area where the pasture and the enclosure is not directly in wetlands. It is adjacent to well, when I say adjacent, I say about within 20 feet of a watercourse. So they contacted me to inquire as to what they needed to do in order to get this project going. And I let them know that their first step would be with you guys.
Very good. You said about 20 feet from a wetland or watercourse?
Yes, there's a, I'm trying to see if I have the
Angle.
picture in
Yeah.
here of the aerial of the property, so you can better see.
Will the
Okay, here we go.
will the animals be using the stream for watering, grazing, or grazing?
No, not whatsoever.
Okay.
So here's a survey on which they sketched a location so you can have an idea. This is Fenn Road right here. The property is wider down. Well, this is more to the south, I think. I'm not seeing how I can rotate. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So this is the lay of the property. You can kind of see the water course going through here. There's a little narrow strip over here where you can walk from one side of the property to the other. And this is where the fenced area is proposed. And this is the 8x10 three-sided area where I guess the, shelter for the horses.
Okay.
The house is over right here. And
Now, what looks to be the red line, that'll be the pen?
Yes, this is the fence, the pen for the pony.
Thank you. From an applicant standpoint, do you have anything to add or further to description?
The fence is portable. We can move it wherever we want to. I prefer to keep it away from the brook as much as possible because I like my brook. And I don't want any harm done to this brook.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
We are in the process, instead of storing any sort of manure or anything like that, we were in the process of dealing with peat, I believe it is.
Sweet Pete.
Sweet
Sweet
peat,
peas, yeah.
right. So all our manure is going to be hauled up to sweet peat, so we don't have to have it on the property at all.
Okay, so you'll collect as, as produced and then transport it
Correct.
off.
Yes.
How do you hold it short term? And I mean, in garbage can, something covered, stay out of the rainwater?
Trailer. We'll put
Okay,
it in
into a trailer. Okay.
Yeah, box trailer, and then we're just gonna, because apparently they're not that far from where we are. So we could
They
just,
really aren't, no.
No.
yeah, so we just haul it up there, whenever the trailer fills up and that'll be it.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Okay, as you said, there won't be any real grazing there. You're gonna do all the feed inside the barn
Correct.
or inside the corral area.
Yes.
Yep.
Stacy, you seeing anything? You were at the site, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I have no issues.
Based on your recommendation and description here, to me, it looks like a use of right. It's a strange way of repeating the regulatory words. That's why it sounds funny, but that's a quotation.
Mhm.
Okay, no other questions from any of the commissioners again?
No.
Okay, do I have somebody interested in making a motion?
This is Laura. Can you hear me?
Can,
I would like to make a motion to approve the request for a declaratory ruling for use of right for the open-sided shelter and pasture for a pony at 49 Fen Road.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And we're going to go through the roll again. Everything changed order, so I'll go Claude,
Yes.
Sue,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
Michelle.
Michelle?
Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, you're all set. I'll be sending you a letter to that effect, but you are all set.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you,
Have a
folks, for
good
going
night.
through the process. We appreciate it.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
All right. You too. And you're welcome to hang on, but they didn't.
Okay, now I need to try and turn this back again. Will it let me?
Go all the way around the neighborhood.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is for your next application.
And I'm going to take a wild guess who this person is. The one, while we recognize him. Okay, so the next application is application 2020-06-18-03. Construction of a septic system and drainage of the upland review. Residential addition at 790 Old Northfield Road. The applicant is Berkshire Engineering and Surveying. And I'm assuming that's Dennis McMorrow representing.
Yes, I'm here this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Would you like
Get
to
back there.
present your application as soon as we can
Certainly.
scroll to it?
Steve and Ann Dunsky own the property, and it's 32 acres in size. The house that's about 25 feet off the street line is approximately 900 feet south of the Hickory Hill Road intersection. and we're on the east side of the road. It's a lovely open field for what we're working in. And the Dunskys wish to take a small portion of the old house off on the back, but leave the majority of the original colonial intact. Build a new addition, which will be additional living space and a new 3-car garage. So we're going to be doing a new septic system because the property only has a septic tank and a cesspool. So it'll be a new septic, new well, and a new driveway. And also we're going to add a greenhouse off of one of the sheds on the property and a 2,000-gallon cistern or water storage tank behind one of the barns to collect the roof water. Because it could be used as irrigation for the greenhouse and for the property.
Okay.
So the wetlands were flagged by Mr. George Malia in Goshen, certified soil scientist, and I have highlighted them in green on the map that Stacy has on the screen. And the orange line is the 100-foot regulated area away from those wetlands. So we have a couple of what I consider minor activities. We have two discharge points, one our footing drain and which goes right down next to flag B4 from Mr. Malia's flagging. And that's just a little bit farther right there, Stacy. That's the footing drain discharge and our high overflow from the cistern. And we need to be that close to the wetlands because the basement floor of the house, by the time I run a 2% grade with that footing drain, which has to snake around the future greenhouse and the barns, that'll give me about a 2% slope, which we could do a little less, but 2% is nice for the footing drain. And then a little bit farther to the east of that, about 80 feet uphill, we have a discharge from the lawn drain that we need in the front of the house because the water is going to pond in that area. And our third regulated activity is just the northeast corner of the new septic system, the berm material, where the sand stops, and that we have a sandy loam berm. That's going to be about 80 feet from flag A5. So those are the three areas that were inside the regulated area for the project. But the vast majority of it is outside of the upland review area. And I think it'll be a beautiful project when the Dunskys are done with it. Paul Hinkle is the architect on the dwelling, and it's a beautiful looking building. Obviously not a wetlands concern, but they're going to make use of the existing barns and features on the property and have a nice homestead. Be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
For the berm for the septic area that you were talking about, how high will that berm be above the existing grade?
Slightly less than 2 feet.
Okay.
In
Brought in fill.
Yeah, you have to bring in the select septic fill to meet the health code. The upper left-hand corner of my plan, there's a cross section that we're required to do for the health department, and you could see that it's about 1.5 feet high actually on that cross section.
Yeah, right.
In there. So it's actually very good soils. We have modeling at 26 and 27 inches in the septic area, which is above the 18-inch minimum that we're required per the health code. So minor amount of septic fill in compared to some systems.
Okay. Well, first thing is, let's go through the process of accepting the application. Okay. Cue me on it. It's the 2020, but I forget everything else.
Sure. I'll just go back real quick.
I don't know when it was logged in. Yeah.
There you
Okay.
go.
So do we have a motion to accept application 2020-06-18-03 for the construction of a septic sewer and drainage system at 790 Old Northfield Road?
This is Laura. Can you hear me?
Can,
So moved.
we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion and second. Further discussion? All in favor? And we can just general acclamation for this.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Okay, so we have the application accepted. Did you, Stacy, did you take any look at this from a billing standpoint?
Not yet.
Okay. We can wait on that until next session. And I think I'm going to try something a little bit different, given the social distancing requirements that we're looking at. Normally, I would take and schedule a meeting with the commission to walk the site and get a good look at it. But I think what I'll do is see if there's interest in doing like a two-person subcommittee that will report back to the full commission. We have volunteers?
I'm available.
Which day are you looking at?
If it's whatever's convenient for those two people. And the applicant.
Like I said, I'm available, so I'll work around pretty much anybody else's schedule.
And I can go as well.
Okay,
Mr.
not here.
Chairman, are you looking for after work, or weekends? What are you looking to do for the site walk?
I was waiting to see who volunteered, okay, and since I didn't hear anybody else, then I'll be the other person of the subcommittee. I can do either this week, and Friday I'm available pretty much all day. I have the day off. So traditionally we do Saturday morning, but that's not, that's not a requirement.
As far as this week, you're talking about tomorrow evening?
Possibly.
Okay.
What are you suggesting that?
No, I'm not, because I have a Warren Wetlands Zoom meeting tomorrow evening.
Then
Really?
not tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Friday, I have soil testing in the morning. I'm trying to remember if I promised anybody in the afternoon. I could probably do it Friday afternoon.
What time?
You want to make it towards the end of the day? It won't, I don't think it'll take that long. You want to say 4 o'clock or something?
That's fine,
on
yeah.
Friday?
For me, I prefer either early or I prefer late. I can work around it easier.
Is 4 late enough for you?
Claude?
Yeah, 4 is fine for me.
Okay,
It's fine.
that works.
So Friday at 4?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna need directions.
I can get with you on that, Claude.
Okay.
Stacy, do me a favor, just shoot out the email too, so that I
Sure.
have the address.
Sure.
Okay, and then as far as ruling whether or not it's significant or not as significant, then I would say let's wait until next meeting as well, after we've had a chance to view the site.
Very good.
I'm not expecting much, but this looks to be a pretty straightforward one, but we'll see. Okay, you're aware, Dennis, of how the project works or how the process works here. It looks like Mr. Dunsky's on. Just to explain to him, we have to go 14 days or until the next meeting anyway, after accepting the application. So we're unable legally to rule on it this evening. We'll do the site walk, and then the next regularly scheduled meeting will probably have a vote on it. If there's nothing else from the applicant at this point in time, I'm good.
I'm all set for this evening. I'll see you Friday at 4.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. And that's all the applications we have for the evening. I think we lost our chairman momentarily.
Yeah, where did Joe go?
He might have gotten booted out and then he should be coming back in briefly.
Married man, very happily married to my wife, Emily. We were married recently. Seaside ceremony down in Chicago. That sounds great. And not a golfer, but a disc golfer. That's right. My favorite thing to do, disc golf is America's next great sport. So I encourage everyone to check out discgolf.com.
I'm not seeing him. Would our vice chairman be available to take over for the interim?
I don't believe the vice chairman is present.
Oh, okay. That's Tony. Okay.
So, secretary, would you like me to take over? Do we still have quorum?
That would
without
be.
Joe? Do we still have quorum
Fortunate.
without Joe?
Well, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we do still have 4.
All right, so next on the agenda is communications and bills. Looks like there's nothing there.
Yeah, nothing.
All right, next, reports of officers, staff, and committees.
I did not have an opportunity to write up an actual report, but briefly in the interim since the last meeting, I've issued 1 agent ruling. It's been swimming pool season, particularly with everything going on with COVID. We did a count and it's a fairly high amount of above ground pools that are going in recently in this particular case. There was another pool and actually there was 2. There was another person who did a small shed in their backyard, approximately 20 to 30 feet away from a wetlands area. So those are the 2 agent determinations that I've done since the last meeting. At the previous meeting, I had done a written report and that also included 2 agent determinations, 1 for a deck at a condominium and 1 for yet another above ground swimming pool.
All right, so then the next issue, the next item on the agenda is an executive session.
And I do think we should have one.
So we'll need a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we enter into executive session.
At 7:35.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
That was Sue. Okay.
It's Sue, yes.
And may I enter the executive session?
So we're moved. We're going into executive session.
Okay, give me a moment. Is everyone in favor of
So
an
this-
executive? Okay, give me a moment and I will turn off the recording.